Hey friend, welcome to Healthy with Heather Brown. If you don't know where to start with balancing being healthy and loving the life you already have, I got you, friend. And yes, of course, we're still going to enjoy some Chick-fil-A. I'm here to come alongside you and encourage you to fall more in love with your creator, your spouse, your kids, and your own health journey. We'll talk about how to let your good things grow until they become daily habits, with the occasional dad joke and point of view from my Yankee hubby, Eric. Don't stress. Let's hop on this Hot Mess Express together. So join me, Heather Brown, as we unpack what it looks like to live a life well loved. Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Healthy with Heather Brown. I am so excited to have you guys back here, and I feel like today's guest is really going to make a lot of you be like, heck yes, I need to hear from her, because I don't know about you, but when I am at the gym, I am totally that mom that's like, oh my gosh, we're doing jump ropes today. Let me run to the bathroom and throw on a panty liner real quick because things can get a little bit awkward, I think, if you're a mom and you know where this is going. Needless to say, today I'm so excited to host Caroline Packard on the show. She has a doctorate of physical therapy with pelvic floor specific training, as well as a mom of three who experienced and healed her pelvic floor dysfunction. On top of all that, she's an athlete and shares helpful and sometimes mind-blowing tips on her Instagram page at Caroline Packard DPT. So welcome, Caroline. So glad to have you today.
Thank you, Heather. I am so excited to be on here and talk about one of my absolute favorite things to share.
Yes, for sure. It's going to be a great time. So I'm excited to have you on this episode. Why don't we just start by you telling us about your journey? Have you always been interested in physical therapy? When did pelvic floor health enter the picture? I'm just excited to hear a little bit about your background with our listeners.
Sure. Yeah, I actually picked physical therapy from a relatively young age in high school as a runner in cross country and track when I got injured, and went to PT and was amazed by how helpful it was, mixed with my interest in biology and physiology. But I will be honest, I did not find pelvic floor physical therapy until I had kids myself.
Yes.
And unfortunately, had my own pelvic floor issues immediately after the birth of my first. And that really just sent me on a journey professionally. I dove headfirst into the continuing ed courses and just gobbled up everything I could read, coupled with my experience and love for different forms of fitness on how I could heal myself. And when I found that, I just learned so much that women could know to help themselves to not have to live and struggle with a lot of the things that are common, but unfortunately not normal, that might happen after childbirth, but don't necessarily have to happen because we've had kids.
Okay, interesting. So it does tend to happen to women, typically, you would say, after having kids, but are there other factors that might play into it otherwise, like age, or tell me a little bit about what else you mean?
So we're finding that young athletes are actually struggling with stress incontinence. So that's the involuntary loss of urine during sporting activities, commonly things like gymnastics, runners, CrossFit. And it is typically demonizing the sport itself. But really, if we taught these athletes a different mechanism of using their muscles and their breath, we could see a great improvement in their symptoms. And so I think we're just setting up our younger future to have these pelvic floor issues, perhaps because they've existed since a young age. And then maybe on top of that, they're having kids, and then they're starting to see some of these issues.
Oh, that definitely makes sense. So I know that we'll get into a little bit more about this perhaps later, but I'd love for you to talk with us a little bit just about what those different mechanisms you mentioned and also how to control your breath. What could our listeners do? Let's say that some of our listeners go to CrossFit or I go to Burn Boot Camp. What can they be doing and I can be doing as I'm working out to help work on those things?
Yeah, totally. So the first thing is always learning how to breathe the right way. So before you even throw that into the exercise mix, you need to learn how to diaphragm breathe. And I share a ton about this, but it's not natural to us. And most of us fall out of that pattern. So trying to retrain something like breathing that you never stop to think about can be really challenging. So initially you need to just take a step back and lay on your back for 5 minutes and realize if you breathe with your chest or do you breathe with your diaphragm. And the whole key to why that's important is because our diaphragm sits like an umbrella above our pelvic floor, which is a bowl. And those two work together to lengthen and contract the pelvic floor. And when we can contract and lift the pelvic floor effectively, we can really work on strengthening and combating anything like prolapse or leaking during exercise. So one, you need to figure that out. And then number two, you apply those concepts to exercise, setting yourself up in the posture to allow those two things to work together, and then practicing it. Exhale on exertion, that will connect the pelvic floor to lift and minimize impact, minimize leaking, and working through all of those things.
Okay. So Caroline, I have to ask you, I know that when I look at your account on Instagram, I obviously see that you're a physical therapist and that you work out. What type of training do you typically do?
I love to, I guess I'd like to do it all. I've been a lifelong runner, but when I had kids, that kind of changed. I didn't have time to go out and run 8 miles. And so
I can't imagine why not.
Yeah, maybe with the first one. I probably did with the first one, which is why I ended up with more pelvic floor issues than I would have liked. But I really transitioned and found the value in strength training. And I love doing that. I love lifting heavy. I love to share just a little bit lighter weight circuit workouts. And I absolutely love yoga. I'm kind of a mixture of everything.
Awesome. I'm the same way. I tend to get bored if I don't keep my workouts interesting. So especially if I don't end up going to burn on a day. I taught Pure Barre for a decade, which has yoga elements in it. And I just love getting a good variety. And I think that's so important for us as women and just as human beings to keep it interesting and to kind of surprise your body every now and again as well with your. So we talked a little bit about how having kids changed your workout routine and obviously then led to the pelvic floor stuff. So you have 3 kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did having kids change your perspective on your body and just life in general? And how did that also change with each child, perhaps?
Sure. I'll tell you, pregnancy was a doozy for me. Pregnancy, postpartum, it's quite a journey to go through. And I know you can do that. You understand that. And I'm sure so many other women identify with that.
And all the mamas said amen.
But sitting where I'm at now, it really has just been such a learning experience. From my 20s, where I didn't really think about what I was doing, I was always active and it was fine. It was really one of those moments in life where you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And that really was for me. I couldn't run without leaking, and I loved running. And running is physical, but for a lot of people, different types of exercise are also emotionally fulfilling. And so that really was a hard hit. And it just really awakened that idea of taking care of our bodies, really fostering what we've been given, because we only have one body, but we have a life to live, and putting that time into it is so well worth it. So that towards my body, that's what I've definitely learned. I want to be strong and healthy, but I also really just learned way more about the mental physical connection and how those both really feed off of each other. And as someone with 3 kids and a husband with a busy job, I need to pour into myself physically and emotionally through that movement to be able to then take care of everybody else. So it's a message I want to encourage women to not give up on that fitness part of their life, to make the effort to find the time, because it really is worth it, and it will just start to bleed out into everything else.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And one thing that you said, Caroline, that I so resonate with is what you're describing. I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. And I just feel like for me, and I know obviously for you, if I don't get my workout in and get those endorphins flowing, then I'm kind of like, you don't want to be around mommy today. Like, it's not pretty.
Oh, we can totally identify at this house with that.
Yes. So I'm like, mamas, do yourself a favor, and whatever you got to do to get your workout in or to do something that makes you feel more like you've got to schedule in the time to do that, because nobody wants to be around the cranky mommy. Okay. So Caroline, one of the first things I saw about you on your Instagram that drew me to you, which I haven't even told you this yet, but so I used to teach at the Pure Barre here in Homewood, Alabama. And one of our owners actually really struggled with a lot of postpartum stuff. And she shares about that on her Instagram. So she shared your account on her stories, and that's how I found you. Was one of my friends and former bosses over at Pure Barre shared you and all your tips and knowledge about just your diaphragm breathing, like you were talking about. And when I clicked on your Instagram bio and it said, helping you stop peeing your pants, I thought, heck yes, I got to give this girl a follow. So that definitely hit home for me. And there's such like a stereotypical joke, of course, that once you have kids, you're definitely going to pee your pants. And that's just part of it. So what is your go-to answer when that topic comes up, or like your go-to? It doesn't have to be that way. What do you tell women when they say that to you?
Oh, my 100% answer is just because it's common does not make it normal at all. It's so sad that that myth has gotten perpetuated. And I certainly fell into it myself after my first. I just thought, oh, I've been indoctrinated. Like, here it is. I remember seeing the women doing the one-legged jumping jacks and laughing in whispers. But there are so many things we can do that are easily accessible that can change that. And it doesn't have to be connected with pregnancy ruins your body. You will never do X, Y, or Z again. You're going to start avoiding activity. You're going to have to feel a certain way. You don't have to feel that way after pregnancy. And I'll tell you what, after all of the stuff, I feel the best I have in my body. I have my whole life. And I never thought I'd say that after 3 kids.
That's huge. Truly, that is huge. And I actually would say the same thing. And Caroline, I think a lot of that for me, and I'd love to hear your take on this too, is because even though I taught Pure Barre and there's such a mind-body connection there, it almost was like I couldn't fully experience the emotional depths and the physical depths of how much I needed the exercise and the endorphins and that full body release until having kids and realizing how all consuming they can be, which is obviously wonderful. Like my kids and my husband are some of my top priorities. And I'm a really big believer in taking care of yourself so that you don't pour from an empty cup, but so that you can like lavishly love on your family and what's important to you. So I would love to even hear your take on what that has looked like for you when you had your first kid and then second kid and then third kid. How did it adjust your schedule? And also, how did you feel like your mind-body connection maybe grew through that, if it did?
Sure. One of the really fascinating things on the scientific level is, like you said, you didn't know you needed to stop and breathe. Like you previously did it. It felt great. If we don't tap into that breath, we quite literally change whether we're in fight or flight or we're in our chill out zone of our nervous system. So we can just upregulate that stress without even knowing it. So maybe the kids are having a bad day, you're holding some tension, that kind of just contributes all throughout your body. And so clenching your jaw, unconscious ways of holding tension can resonate in the pelvic floor and just contribute to those symptoms. So checking in is just so important. After my first, I still ran a lot and picked up the weights a little bit, but it really wasn't until after my second. And my first, I don't want to say I bounced back, but it just was easier.
Sure.
Maybe I didn't have anybody else running around. It was just my first time my body had changed. But I think the fact is with pregnancies, your body magically learns, oh, I need to expand. It knows what to do every time. And so even though I was active through each of the second and third, I definitely gained more weight. And it was a lot more of a struggle to get back to where I wanted to be. And it was humbling and it was challenging and it was emotional and all of the things that encompasses that. But I think I never fully appreciated those things in my 20s. And I probably relearned finally things that I was doing wrong that I never would have known had I not gone to the place that you start postpartum.
Absolutely.
And really reconnected. I never knew where my pelvic floor was. I never thought about it. I never stopped to think about how I was breathing. Never probably paid attention to half of the things that I am a huge proponent of talking about all of the time. And so I'm so in tune with my body now. And a lot of that comes from yoga and those just micro adjustments. But when you start to tune in, that's when you can listen to what your body really needs. I need to run today. No, I need to do yoga today. I'm starting to listen versus when I was younger and just did what I thought. Oh, I need to run today. That's where I need to be.
Yes. And I think that's such a wise tip, even just checking in with yourself, not only physically, but also emotionally, spiritually. How does your body feel? Are you still sore from the workout you did on Sunday? And even though you wanted to do that run today, is it actually a good yoga day? So I think that's actually a really great takeaway. And while you keep talking about diaphragm breathing, it reminds me, I did choir all growing up in high school and stuff. And so for me, it's a good reminder. And if you cheered, I cheered also. We worked a lot in choir and in cheerleading on really getting a full diaphragm breath and really opening up all through it where it expands your lungs, everything expands down below. So I even think while you're listening to this and we're talking about stress and breathing, try out loud if you're in your car or in your kitchen or whatever, try to shrug your shoulders up and drop them down and take that deep breath and exhale 2 to 3 times. I feel like that's one thing that's been a game changer for me. And also for my 6-year-old, when we start to feel that stress or that anxiety or whatever it is coming up, if you just stop and take those 3 deep breaths, it's such a great coping mechanism as well.
Oh, 100%. With pregnancy too, you almost can't help but fall out of the diaphragm breathing because that belly moves up and it pushes our ribs out and it can change just our ability to do that. And you don't naturally fall back into that. And quite frequently people will become frustrated. They'll be like, I can do it, but then I'm going through my day and I notice I'm not. And I'm like, it's okay. We all will. But the turning point is when you stop yourself, like you said, and you say, okay, I need to take a couple of deep breaths, and you feel and you understand that you were able to tap into that relaxation, and then you keep going. And that's how you see change, is when you can at least acknowledge that you've fallen back into that habit and correct it.
Absolutely. You know, one of the most popular questions I hear is, how do you do it all? Or, can I pick your brain? And I always laugh because my knee-jerk reaction is, oh girl, I don't do it all. And now I have a way to let you pick my brain about my business. I have an incredible team of women helping me manage my crazy behind the scenes and keeping My Life Well Loved and this podcast running smoothly. Because Lord knows I'd be a hot mess express trying to do it all myself. This year, I launched a course where I finally do a deep dive and share all the raw details about how I built my business and team to where it is today. My COO, Alyssa, and I recorded over 2 hours of video into 9 lessons to create a course that reviewers are saying is unlike anything else out there. Hey, their words, not mine. But hold on, the videos aren't all. I'm going to read you my list of what it includes so I don't forget any of it. There's a 28-page workbook with questions to move you from stuck as a solopreneur to thriving as a team, or even just hiring your first assistant, with smart goals and steps to guide you from point A to point B efficiently. A behind-the-scenes look at our application, hiring process, and critical onboarding process, my cannot-miss first step in hiring a new employee, and how to cultivate a team buy-in. There's a deep dive on my team's inner workings, our operating systems, favorite apps, and index full of time-saving tools we use to keep our team running smoothly. If you're ready to take your business, side hustle, or network marketing lifestyle to the next level and grow a team, I'm your girl. Head to www.mylifewellloved.com/team to grab yours today. And Caroline, I think that's such a key takeaway too, is that a lot of times and actually you were talking about this on your Instagram stories yesterday, I saw, but we so much as Americans and as a culture in a fast-paced world, we want fast results. And we're like, yes, I wanted to learn it yesterday and implement it today and never mess it up. But unfortunately, that's just not, how the body is designed to work. The body is so adaptable and God made us so unique and cool. However, we have to be patient with it. And I think that's something that I have really had to learn post kids as well, is that you can really focus on changing your body just 1% each day. Everything that I learn is a 1% improvement growing towards health. There's never this like hit the final destination and I am the perfect healthy specimen.
No, I mean, I would hope that nobody thinks I am perfect. I still have my struggles 100%, but I definitely have picked up a few things along the way to share with others, and I can totally identify with that.
Absolutely. So do you mind walking us through an overview of how our pelvic floor is designed and how we can care for it better? I'd love to get in the nitty gritty with you a little bit.
Oh, I would love to. So your pelvic floor is a bowl, and it is the bottom of your canister of your upper body. And so just below there, it is a network of muscles that kind of creates a sling or a hammock. And with inside that, it supports your organs of reproduction, bladder, bowel. And it's obviously there for sexual intimacy, as well as a sump pump to help us keep everything moving. So it's pretty darn important to us.
No doubt.
In allowing all of those functions to happen naturally. So
Super
again,
cool.
The number one thing is learn how to breathe and learn how to feel where your pelvic floor is at, and just even educate yourself on that you have one. Because some people are like, I've never heard of that. And I'm not surprised, but I didn't even know I have one.
Wow.
So I think just familiarizing yourself with that and then learning proper bowel and bladder habits is really huge, especially bowel. I know people don't like to talk about it a lot, but everybody does it daily, hopefully. And if you're not, that can actually create a cascade of events that can be creating the things that they don't even actually have to be bladder specific, bladder leakage specific, but chronic back pain, abdominal pain, all of those things can be related. And learning to normalize that can be huge.
So Caroline, I know this is slightly off topic, but I am curious if someone's, oh, I don't go to the bathroom every day. Do you typically just say, go ask your doctor about what those causes might be? Or do you typically tell them to try to get more fiber in their diet, drink more water? What do you tell people in general about that?
Yeah, we try to target everything. Are you moving enough? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough fiber? It's usually 25 to 30 grams a day that we'll recommend. After that, we talk about considering a magnesium supplement, usually magnesium citrate. It helps to calm the nervous system. So it will help to relax the smooth muscle of the intestine for a bowel movement. And it's something you would normally take in the evening. And the bonus is it also helps you relax for sleep. And it's a natural supplement. So it's not like you are taking a stool softener or anything like that. In fact, most people are deficient in magnesium because our soils are deficient. So unless you are eating boatloads upon boatloads of spinach and broccoli, you're probably deficient, and it's usually a completely safe thing to add in. It can create some loose stool. So I just tell people, you just have to learn to titrate it to your body. Did you have a day where you're traveling and you didn't eat good and it's going to be a bad morning? Maybe you take another extra one and you just learn how it works in your body. But creating easier bowel movements can speak magnitudes for prolapse, back pain, diastasis recti, all of those things. So we go through that. And then we talk about breathing and how you're supposed to breathe for a bowel movement.
That's awesome. And if you go to Caroline's Instagram page, she actually has several reels and some resources that you can look at for how to tackle that. And I'll actually put in the show notes, I found a natural supplement that I take that my Instagram community will DM me and say, what were those pills you recommended? But it's literally just like oxygen. But I'll link them in the show notes so y'all can check those out too if you're interested. And then Caroline, what is one huge myth you have to work to overturn when it comes to women's health in this area? Are there any symptoms we maybe not realize are tied to this area of our bodies? I know you were just talking about actually constipation can be one. Is there anything else as far as a myth or symptom that people might need to look out for?
I think it's that one we mentioned earlier. You don't have to have had kids to have a problem. So some of the ones lesser known, because I think when you think pelvic floor, you think bowel and bladder issues necessarily, but the constipation, bloating can be a huge one. Especially it happens a lot postpartum if you have diastasis recti. And so the informal way of saying that is that's the separation of your abs. And I don't like to call it a true separation because the tendon has just become lax. The ligament, has become lax. But if you can imagine, we've just disrupted the way all of those organs sit. And so bloating easily can be a common cause of a pelvic floor issue, as well as the dreaded mom pooch. And people will be like, I've never had kids and I have the pooch. And I'm like, yes, that's right. Because a tight pelvic floor can contribute to that. Not breathing properly can contribute to that. Other lesser known ones, your foot issues, because of how your hip is related. The hip joint connects to the everything.
Wow.
And
I had not heard that.
Yeah. If you're misaligned at your hip, how can that contribute down the kinetic chain, as we call it, causing foot issues, chronic hip pain, that kind of sacrum issue, that low back pain, chronic low back pain. I'm even going as far as saying neck pain, because TMJ, jaw grinding, is really associated with hypertonic pelvic floor and posture and upper chest breathing. And so you can see how those would feed off each other too.
Okay. I'm like, Caroline, you've given me a long list of things that I'm going to be talking to my chiropractor about. I'm like furiously taking notes.
I checked all those boxes there. Hold on.
Literally though, I'm like, I got the TMJ, like you name it, I got it. If other women are listening and they're feeling like me, oh, it sounds like she's talking about me. Shoot. So if they've had a baby like me, I have a 6 and a 3-year-old. And if they've had kids that are 9, 10, is it too late to rehab your pelvic floor? And like, how do you get help with that?
No, it is never too late, especially as we age. things are changing. Hormones are changing. We lose, what is it, 3 to 5% of our muscle mass every decade after the age of 30. So if we're not promoting that and doing it in the right way, or just you don't want to say you're going downhill as you age. There are those changes that happen. So no, it's never too late to find help. And I always think too, I'm a conservative gal. I like conservative approach to things. I'd rather not cut things that don't need to be. And so if you can avoid surgery and you maybe get 85% improvement and a good control of your symptoms and know how to manage them, that you feel confident going through different activities in your life or approaching jumping jacks at the gym, I think that speaks volumes for carrying you through years before you might have to consider another intervention, if ever.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. And this is, Caroline, you're going to maybe make fun of me for this question. It's kind of random, but I've been very into it recently and have been studying it a lot. So what is your opinion on stomach vacuuming? Because I do feel like it also involves a lot of the muscles that are down there around the pelvic floor. So I was like, I wonder if it actually could help with that. Have you heard of that before?
I have. I'm assuming we're talking about hypopressives, as they're generically called.
Okay.
And I have a little bit of mixed feelings on them. There are some studies that compare hypopressives to pelvic floor PT, and there's a little bit of mixed reviews. It's gotten a lot of really good press. Without a lot of the science backing it. And that's commonly noted in a lot of these studies. But what they're finding is that it looks like it's pretty comparable to just pelvic floor PT. Some show that it's not any better or might slightly be worse. A couple show that it is better. So a little bit of mixed reviews on it. I think if you're executing it the correct way, it's not going to be harmful, because we want to lift up and in with that exhale, and that's cueing the same thing. So with everything though, it's a tool in your tool bag. You don't want to, there's no magic bullet. You don't want to rely heavily on it. I think it's fine to do if you're taught to do it the right way, but also learning to work with your pelvic floor is understanding how it should work in different movements, like squatting and running and jumping and lifting your baby up out of a crib if you have back pain or something like that. And so I do feel like that's part of the missing component that you miss with focusing too much on those, is not gathering those techniques.
That's a good point. Yes. And I agree with you. I do think that a lot of times we just, again, want that one quick fix. So the magic bullet. Health is more well-rounded than that for sure. Okay. So where should we start postpartum when we're approaching that part of our bodies? And I am assuming that you might say to try to find a good pelvic floor specialist if you need extra help in that. So how would we know to get one of those and what makes a good one in our area?
So one, you want to start with breathing. We're going to send blood flow, massage the tissues of the abdominal wall and the pelvic floor. And you want to just start to reconnect to those pelvic floor muscles. And you can do that whenever. There's this arbitrary 6-week thing that's been set up that we don't do any movement until 6 weeks. Even if it's your first baby, you're lifting car seats, you're doing things.
And they get heavy with that baby in there. Oh my gosh.
And if you're lifting it up into an SUV and then not even talk about if you already have other kids running around, I'm like, why are we not telling women how to reconnect to their core until 6 weeks?
It actually is crazy when you think about it.
And then most think, oh, the OB said, just go back to whatever you want to do. I haven't done anything for 6 weeks. My body did all of these changes. Oh, I'm just going to go back to running. And we've just really done women a disservice there. I mean, myself and a lot of pelvic PTs are a huge proponent. Why can't it be an automatic referral? You don't have to have issues, because if you don't know where it's at and you don't know how to work it, I'm going to bet you could benefit from even a couple visits to learn where to be. And I just wonder, where would women be as they do age? Would they not be ending up with things like prolapse and worsening stress incontinence if we gave them a little bit of a leg up initially? So be proactive about it. Just tell your doctor you want a referral. I know that the provider-patient interaction can be challenging sometimes. It's often a barrier. Doctors will say, oh, you're fine. I did my exam. I didn't see anything. But any of the symptoms of pain, pelvic pressure, leaking urine or gas, back pain, none of those things are ever normal at any point in the continuum of pregnancy, postpartum, so on and so forth. So there's a lot that can be done. And so I would say everybody go to pelvic floor PT if you can. And really, if you could go during pregnancy, They'll set you up to know a few things. You can start right away and set you up for delivery as well. But you can go to pelvicrehab.com. And if there is a provider near you who has registered on that website and trained through the Herman and Wallace Institute, you will be able to find them on there.
That's a great resource. I had not heard of that before, so I'll make sure to add that to the show notes as well. And I just think that this has been so informative and helpful. And I ask every guest at the end of the podcast episode, and I can't wait to hear your answer. So what is your favorite thing right now, Caroline, in your health journey that's making you feel like yourself right now? And it can be anything that makes you feel like you.
I would say where I'm in Michigan, so it's cold like 6 months of the year. We have
Oh my.
we have so much nice weather right now. So just being outside and doing movement outside, really running, trail running, take my yoga mat outside, and I will do yoga outside, and just being with the kids and being playful on the trampoline and whatever else, just really enjoying nature and kind of getting that feel good things.
Oh my gosh, Caroline, I had to tell you a quick story about that then. Okay. I am the same way. I'm a big believer in getting your vitamin D and being outside when you can. I even know like in the Hard 75 program, you're required every day to work out, at least one workout. You have to be outside. And there's huge like medical science and research that shows all the health benefits of being outside. So I'm 100% on board with you on that. However, I had my first little drawback / snafu with that whole thought process about 2 weeks ago. I was outside teaching myself a Pure Barre class on my backyard. And all of a sudden I started to feel a little itchy. And I was like, I'm sure it's fine. It's probably just my skin rubbing and sweat, whatever. Oh no, I was apparently way too into my workout, because when I came inside, I realized that a spider had crawled into my sports bra and bit me 3 or 4 times all over my side and chest. It was terrible.
That sounds terrible.
So yes, get outside and also be aware of the spiders and the bugs.
Oh yeah. I probably usually inhale at least one bug every time when I'm running.
You just get your little extra protein. It's fine.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. So great. Caroline, I'm so thankful that you joined me today. Make sure you go follow Caroline at Caroline Packard DPT on Instagram. And we are so excited that you joined us today. And you can find me on Instagram at Healthy with Heather Brown. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you so much. If y'all think I'm a little crazy, just wait till my favorite guest joins me in the Marriage Corner. It's my hubby, Eric. Okay, Eric. So I know that you cannot wait to talk about this podcast episode that I just recorded. It was with Caroline Packard, and she is a physical therapist that helps specifically with women postpartum. Do you know what happens when women jump rope after they've had a baby a lot of times?
I've heard stories.
Sure.
I got the cliff notes of your interview. Heard something about pelvic floor.
Yep.
Kind of different kind of exercises.
Yep. Good breathing.
Good breathing.
Working on your posture.
I think the exercise rhymes with bagels. Maybe.
Oh gosh, we did not talk about that, but that's hilarious.
Is that right? Bagels?
Yes, it's bagels. Good job,
All
babe.
right,
Oh my gosh. So one of the things that Caroline and I talked about that I would actually love to hear your perspective on is how your life changes after kids, both with like your physical aspect. For women, obviously it's a little bit different, but like the way that you work out and just how your life in general changes after having kids. What would you say like your kind of biggest takeaways were, maybe even after having Leighton, and then how did it change again after having Finn?
So I would say, and this may be kind of cliched, but the biggest thing when you have kids is just the time aspect. Obviously, I know most women, I feel like they definitely have more of their time taken up. But even then, depending on your role, there's just that extra time where you don't have to yourself, and you kind of have to figure out a different routine. You have to figure out a new normal, essentially. And I know initially with Leighton, and this happened with Finn as well, too. I remember there was a period of time where I didn't have that same routine, where I couldn't go to the gym routinely or do the same things that I was doing before. And I think that's natural. But also, too, I look back at some of the pictures and you just feel like you're putting all your time, your energy, you're not getting a lot of sleep. And I know this is one thing you and I talk about a lot, how important, I think people don't realize how important a good night's sleep is for your overall health, as far as weight management, stress hormones, and things of that nature. But just managing time, finding that new routine when you have a kid, and then eventually just knowing in your mind you want to get back to that place and figuring out how you can make time for yourself and your physical fitness and how you can maybe even implement some diet changes as well too. So that's what I would say. It's just the time aspect of having a new kid.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like after we had Leighton, obviously, I have talked about that I had a really rough, like a pretty traumatic, I would say, birth experience with Leighton. And for Eric and I, it was just really, I feel like a weird dynamic shift for us in our marriage, which it is for everybody when you have your first kid. But for me to go from being all out, going all the time, like the Energizer Bunny, to then literally you having to say to me, Heather, you did a good job today if you literally took care of the baby and you're helping your body heal by just like being here and being still with him. And I remember that being so stinking hard for me because I am such an achiever. So I have talked about this actually in my intro episode, but truly I could not have made it in those first 2, 4, 6 weeks after having Leighton without you and such great support, because it was truly like one of the most pivotal moments in my life, becoming a mom and then also struggling with PPD and all those things. But then even just as a woman trying to figure out physically how to nurse myself back to health and to get back into, like you're saying, what does it look like to work out now when it feels like my body's broken?
And I think what you said about initially when you first have kids or you have any type of change, sometimes it's okay to go through that transition period of just being present and being content in the moment. And I know those were some of the most special times with me with both Layton and Finn when they were first newborns. And the only thing you have to do is just be there for them and just having that simplicity in your life. There's something to be said for that. And it's okay to put a couple things on the back burner. We talk about balance in our lives a lot and how we always want to come back in balance, but there's going to be times in your life where different things take priority. And obviously, when you have a kid, that's going to be the number one priority, and more so at the very beginning of the process. And then, as you mentioned, you want to work to find that holistic balance of your own personal health, your diet, your spiritual health, as long as you are trying to get back to those things. But you're going to be out of balance in life as long as you try and get back and find your baseline, essentially.
Yes, for sure. And I think that I really had to learn to give myself a lot of grace in that season. And Eric, you were a really good support at reminding me of that. And I always get almost tearful when I think about that time after having Leighton, just because it was so like soul and physical and emotionally crushing for me, but also like feeling the most elated I'd ever been. It was such high highs. Like obviously like they lay your baby on your chest and it's one of the best moments of your entire life. And then also to hear, and you're not allowed to walk past your mailbox for 2 weeks. For me, that was just mind blowing. So I can't thank you enough for reminding me to give myself grace and reminding me to lower my hard inner critic, I guess, like expectations of myself in those early days.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Of course.
So I know you wanted me to come up with another question in our marriage corner.
Obviously, always a good call. Yes.
And I'm going to try and make a nice transition here of how segue, if you will. But we were just talking about balance in our lives. And sometimes part of balance is your diet. And you can't always be on strict diets. You can't always be doing Whole30. You can't always be doing keto. You got to have that balance. And sometimes having that balance is having a cheat meal here or there.
Or a cheat day, whatever you need.
Whatever you need. I think we're big believers in that. We want to enjoy food and we enjoy having meals together. So with that being said, the question I have for you today is I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore of cheat foods or cheat meals that you enjoy. So before we get into the Mount Rushmore, I have a second question.
Oh, wow. Okay, bring it.
All right. But can you name the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore?
Oh, no. Why do you have to do this to me? Oh, my gosh.
I know you got a couple of them, all right?
Do I? Oh, gosh, this is about to get rough.
Right.
Y'all don't judge my history knowledge. Is George Washington one?
Ding, ding. Number 1.
Oh, yes. Okay, great.
One for one.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, that was not one of the most commonly named ones.
Boom. Okay.
Right, you got probably the 3rd most difficult one out of the way, I would say.
Oh, okay. What about, is there a guy named Sam up there?
President Sam. Yes, President Sam. is on Mount Rushmore.
Is it like Sam Adams? No, that's a beer.
Yep. Sam Adams. Yep. The beer guy is on Mount. No.
Dang it.
All right,
Okay.
so think about
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
Yeah, you got that one. All right. So the fourth one, probably the most difficult one.
Uh-huh.
But this is a president that there's actually two presidents with this last name.
And I've already said Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Thomas Jefferson. Bush.
Wow.
I know that's wrong, but that's the only one I can think of. Two presidents.
Majestic facade of, I don't know which Bush on Mount Rushmore. So the fourth, Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, dang. I feel like I could have maybe eventually gotten there, but it would have taken me a hot minute.
3 out of 4 is not bad. So Thomas Jefferson was a nice pull. I don't know. Yeah, that was impressive.
Do you want to tell them about our 9 planets conversation? This is making me think of that.
Yeah, that was the inspiration for the question on Mount Rushmore. So really quick story. When we were first dating, just a random question for Heather. I said, Heather, can you name the planets starting from closest to the sun all the way on back? And Heather's, oh yeah, I've got
easy.
This. She's up. So like
my very excellent mother just made us 9 pizzas is another one.
So that's it. But I don't know if people watched Saved by the Bell. If you were an 80s kid, 90s kid, you watched Saved by the Bell. And that was the acronym, I believe, that they used in Saved by the Bell. So Heather was like, oh yeah, I've got this. So she says her little acronym. She's like, Mercury. Yep, great. Venus. Perfect. Off to a strong start. All of a sudden, dead silence.
Blank, nothing.
Eric, I can't remember. What is the E? What is the E? Just stood there for a minute.
Stunned, probably.
I was like, Earth, Heather. She was like, oh, yeah, that's it. Then you clicked off all the rest.
Did.
But
Dang it.
It makes for a good story.
Sometimes the most obvious answer is right in front of you, or you're standing on it.
All right. So back to the question: your Mount Rushmore of cheat meals or cheat food items. You give one, then I'll give one. And so you have to have 4.
Oh, we have to have 4. Okay. Yeah. Only 4. Ooh, okay. I need to narrow it down. My first one is going to have to be a margarita with salt. And I want it to be very clean. I love it when they're like, I don't want a lime green situation. It needs to be like the purest of the pure.
You are very particular with your margaritas, I will say.
Yeah, it's hard to impress me.
Big on the salt. So I think that was a good answer. So one of my number ones, cheat meal, don't get this too often, was recently in Wisconsin last year and drove through Chicago. Deep dish pizza from Chicago.
Which one?
Specifically Lou Malnati's.
Okay. Oh, man.
Great.
You're going to make a lot of people pissed and a lot of people happy with that answer.
I know, I hear you. But any kind of deep dish pizza, great cheat meal. You can only eat 1, maybe 2 pieces. You don't feel good about yourself after you eat it, but delicious. So that's on my Mount Rushmore, deep dish pizza.
That's a really great answer. Okay. So mine would also, I'm kind of going in order. I'm thinking like I get my drink first, then I get an appetizer.
All right.
So next, what I want is absolutely white cheese dip. Some people call it queso. Some people call it cheese dip. I love just a classic white Mexican restaurant cheese dip. That's what I'm going for.
Another great answer. I think that is very appropriate for your Mount Rushmore of cheat.
And it goes with my margs.
Goes with my margaritas. You got a nice theme going on.
I do. I'm about to break it next.
Mine is all over the board. So I'm going dessert now.
Oh, okay.
This is a recent cheat thing, but chocolate peanut butter Haagen-Dazs ice cream. If you have not had it, it is by far the best flavor from Haagen-Dazs. It is delicious.
Where did you have this recently? With Leighton?
It was a cheat that I bought for myself. I don't think I told you about it.
I don't think you did either.
I ate it very quickly too. I think it was right around it was like a birthday gift to myself, essentially.
Oh, I love it. Great work.
But it was delicious.
Sometimes you do just got to treat yourself.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I thought you took Leighton ice cream, but no.
No, myself.
Okay, that's a good answer. So third on my list, I would have to say I would just go classic cheese pizza. I love just a plain cheese pizza. I don't want pepperoni on it. I just want a plain cheese pizza.
From where?
I really am pretty happy usually with anyone that's like a medium to thick crust. I'm going Papa John's. Judge me how you will. Papa John's.
We will do this other segment on guilty pleasure foods
Ooh.
later on. We'll do that, which is a little bit different than your Mount Rushmore of cheat items, because your guilty pleasure foods are like foods that you're actually embarrassed to admit to people that you like. And we'll get into that later on. So
I love it.
That's for another segment.
Fabulous.
All right, cheese pizza. That did swerve a little bit from your theme.
It did.
So I've got a few listed here. I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to go with next. Kind of along with your like classic cheese pizza line, I have to go cheeseburger.
Oh, that's perfect
That
for
has
you.
to go on
Yep.
Mount Rushmore. There's a couple great options, specific options. Growing up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, there's a place called Powers Hamburgers. They're these little sliders. Place has been around for about 80 years. Chopped fine onions, kind of like a White Castle, but
Or for my Southerners, Crystal.
not mass produced. This little grill inside this place. You come out of the Powers Hamburgers, you smell like onions, you smell terrible. They're going to sit with you for the rest of the day. You do not feel good about yourself once again, but they are delicious. A lot of self-loathing after you eat 8 Powers hamburgers. I'm just saying.
Have you done 8 before or more?
I think 8 was my record.
Okay, good work. Solid.
So Jack Brown's Burgers in Birmingham, Alabama, they have great cheeseburgers as well too, and I would put them right up there.
Oh wow, that's strong for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last one, right? Number
Last
4.
one. So this is your Teddy Roosevelt of cheat items.
Correct.
Cheat meals.
I think that you're going to think it's kind of lame, but you're also going to not be surprised that I put this on the list. It's TCBY, white chocolate mousse, but I want the cookie dough on the side. It cannot go into the white chocolate mousse because then it messes with the texture. I love cookie dough. I love white chocolate. It's the best of both worlds combined.
Hey, it's your Mount Rushmore. You can do whatever you want. I can honestly say I do not understand your love for TCBY yogurt, but you know what? It's your Mount Rushmore.
That's right. Let me live my life.
That is your cheat item, your cheat meal. So that is your Mount Rushmore. Right?
Yes,
So
I'm happy with it.
You got queso dip, you've got margarita, you got a plain cheese pizza, and white chocolate TCBY yogurt.
I'm noticing a theme of white. I like some white foods.
Yeah, very eclectic.
Uh-huh.
All right, so my 4th, I was torn here between 2 different items. So the first one is I'm a huge fish and chips fan.
Yes, he
So,
is.
fried
Best one
fish.
you've ever had.
You know what? A place here in Birmingham, Little London, great fish and chips.
Wow.
And this is a humble brag, but the second one was in New Zealand. Anywhere you went in New Zealand, great fish and chips.
They can't mess it up.
Can't mess it up. It's
Yep.
delicious. But I honestly think I'm going to go with my last item is Indian food.
He loves some Indian food and he never learns his lesson to tame down the
I
heat.
was gonna talk about this.
Great,
So,
bring it.
Yeah, you can obviously order your Indian food mild, medium, or hot. And there's different food items depending on what spiciness could be. But yeah, I always think, oh yeah, I can handle the spice. No big deal. It's always a mistake. There's nothing worse than having a spicy Indian food than going to work the next day. Your stomach is just torn to shreds. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yet you still choose
But,
it.
oh, it's so delicious. It's so delicious going down. I love it.
Oh,
So get
my
that
gosh.
naan bread. But
Oh yeah, tell them your go-to Indian food.
the classic, the chicken tikka masala is always great. I love a good vegetable korma. Sometimes we'll branch out to some different items. I'll try it all, but yeah, Indian food in general, great cheat meal.
I would agree. And I was really freaked out by the whole Indian food concept, but man, you get me some of that classic naan bread. I'm a happy camper. It is so good. Dip it in the
Yes.
sauce. Eric, another great question. I'm not surprised at all. So thanks for bringing literally the heat with your Indian food answer.
Lots of heat.
Okay, this wraps up the Marriage Corner and another episode of Healthy with Heather Brown and Eric Brown. We're so glad that you guys joined us today. If you have not had a chance yet to rate and review the podcast, we would so appreciate it. When you do that, it helps more people find us, and really that truly is the lifeblood of any podcast. So we would appreciate your support in that way, and I hope you guys have a great day. Hey girl, hey! If you're loving the show, I would love to hear from you. Please be sure to go on over to your podcast app, scroll down to where it says ratings and reviews, and tell me your thoughts. It really does mean so much. Your words might just be what the next person needs to tune in and start living a healthier life from the inside out. Thanks!